So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Ma'am Charity.
Good
Good
morning.
morning, Millie. How are you guys today?
We're fine, and
Very fine. Yes.
Today we are reading the book from Nick. He says it's Nick Vujicic. Nick Vujicic, and the title "Life Without Limits." You're welcome to our book club today, and we have two amazing women also in the book club joining us. So if you want to join the book club, you should also join. It is a way and a space where we encourage ourselves to go back to reading habits. And I have learned in the past that readers are leaders. So if you really want to lead, then you must learn how to read, because in those books are hidden secrets of amazing people. Today we are going to be analyzing, observing, and reviewing the book Life Without Limit from a great, amazing person. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to complain, before you continue complaining, I will want you to go back to the book Life Without Limits, where you have read the book, not because Nick Vujicic is without arms and legs, but simply because of how he turns his own challenges into a message, his mess into a message, his breakdowns into breakthrough. And if he can do it, you can do it. And many times I have heard him preach and motivate, saying, if he could do, you can do. If God can turn his own broken pieces and to make them become a message, then he can as well turn our own stories around. So you're welcome, Millie. You're welcome, Charity.
Thank
Millie,
you.
you were supposed to lead today because you prepared so hard for the book. Now I give
yes.
the microphone over to you. Tell us
So,
more about the book.
yes, good morning. Good morning. My name is Millie, as Vera's introduced me. I hope I'm clear. Yeah.
Mhm.
So today we are going to talk about the book Life Without Limit. So we are going to start. I'm going to start by asking you some questions. I hope you like the book. I hope you liked reading the book.
Yes, I
Yes,
did.
Chelsea. Yes, you
Yes, I
liked it.
did. Yeah, nice
Yes.
to meet you. Yes, I did. Yes.
Yeah, and I did. Have you read it for the first time? How many times have you read the book or something?
Oh, it
Charity.
was my first time.
It was your first time, like me. And Vera, have you read the book before?
No, no, that was my first time, and I think
Definitely.
it gave me also the possibility to get to know more about Nick Vujicic,
Yeah.
and I had to go also to
Just one
the
second, please. Just one
to
second. Coming
That's
back.
fine. That's fine, Charity. And it gave me the privilege to really go to get to search about him. I think the
Oh,
advantage of reading a book and from an author is the fact that it really gives you the challenge, the possibilities, I mean, to get to know the author or the writer and the life of that person in a different way. It was an amazing book for me. I got to learn more again about love, about faith, about courage, and how to overcome my adversities.
Okay, that is great. And I will begin by asking you questions, each one. So, what actually happened in the book, Miss Charity? If you can just give us a small snapshot.
okay. From what I got about the book, actually, is that Nick it's a really challenging story because, as most people know, Nick Vujicic, the name is very difficult to pronounce, but I know Vera will put it up there.
Mm,
Vujicic, is again, you should pronounce it that way, was born without limbs, no arms and no legs. And all his life in that book, he talks about all the challenges he went through, especially the physical ones. And when you can imagine anybody being born without any hands or any feet, how challenging
mhm.
that can be. But the
Yes.
book so encouraging because he goes through his life story and he's very, very vulnerable the way he talks about it. And then he
Yes,
talks
ma'am.
about, he gives people hope. And throughout the
Yes.
book, he uses the word hope.
Yeah.
And he says how we must never lose hope
Yeah.
against
Yeah.
all adversities. Yes.
Yes.
It
That's
is
great.
very challenging. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a real encourager.
Yeah. And Miss Vera, what did you get from the book? This Nick.
Indeed, he's an inspirator. I didn't even know that he was an evangelist until I
Yes,
got to
me
read
too.
his book. I didn't know
Yes.
about that side of
Yes.
Nick. I just knew he was
Mm.
motivational speaker. But then when I started reading his book and he kept talking about hope, he had some verses that were so particular for him. Jeremiah, he always talked about, or he wrote about Jeremiah 29, verse 11 to 13. And where he
Mm.
says, I know the thoughts I have towards you, the plans of good to bring you to an expected end. So
Mm.
he said um he almost committed suicide at the age of 10 years old, and when he discovered that verse at the age of 13, then he gave his life to Christ, and found his identity in Christ, his purpose in Christ, and accepted the plans of God for his life through that verse he read. So he now it became clear to him that we live by faith and not by sight. I just
Mm.
love how he writes and how he explains hope and how he gives hope to people and to his readers. And he says that actually the goal of his book is that we should overcome our own challenges and our
Mm.
hardship in order to find our own purposes and pathway to be and to live a ridiculously good life.
Wow, that's really amazing. I actually have the same thing. I have read the same thing. He gives about hope. He talks about hope. He talks about how he lives a normal life, and he had fear to live a normal life, to live with a wife. How could he manage to have a wife, kids, and if he could not be a burden to the others? I find that very amazing because, and another thing that caught my eyes is like he says um I wanted to commit suicide. I was in a dark moment, and he allows himself to come out from that dark moment. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that is really, really amazing. And it is amazing from the book to read from to get the message of hope. And I hope you all connected with the author, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Yes,
mean,
that is amazing. Yeah, yeah. So,
in various ways, one can really connect with
Yes.
him because
mm,
he did not have. I mean, even today when I was doing my morning devotion, I remembered him again. I'm like, if he could not have, if he doesn't have arms and legs, and could so trust his God and so love his God and so believe in faith and hope and love, what about me with arms? With legs? I mean, it was a challenge for me this morning, and I just realized that because of his life and his book, my entire approach of things, I really, really been shaky, and I'm interviewing myself. What
yes,
what else is this all about life? You know?
yeah, yeah. And Miss
Yes.
Charity,
Yes, I like the way. Sorry, it is so warm. I don't know
yeah,
where you are exactly, but here it is so warm and it's in the morning. But
yeah,
that is fantastic. Nick talks about all the journeys he went to all the poor countries and
yes, yes.
saying that, in his book, he takes you to all the journeys in China, especially when he talks about these orphan children who are singing
Mm,
for him. And he says
mm,
that they actually made him cry because,
mm,
and in that way, as I was reading this book, because I read it in the night, it took me on so many journeys that I came and asked myself, now here, Charity, sometimes you complain. Can you imagine he's talking about orphans who made him cry?
Yes.
That they gave
Yes.
him so
that's
much
it.
hope. And
That
this
is
child
it.
who was dancing brought
Yes,
tears in his eye. People who have no home, no children, their parents were killed. He talked
yes,
about Haiti. He went to so many other places, and in all the places, he himself, in his condition, which he says it is not a victim of anything. His parents brought him
Yes.
up and say they are not going to take him to this children where
That's
they
a
are
great thing.
they have disabled schools because of the label. He said they took him to normal schools, and even after they tried to put his what are they called, this other artificial arms, it couldn't
Mm-hmm.
work. So Nick at the end decided to stay naturally the way God bore him,
Mm-hmm.
and he has been capable. And I've actually seen him live. I've seen him live.
Mm-hmm.
He was one time came in Germany, and I
Okay.
went to
Oh,
his talk. Yes, I went to his talk, and he does wonders.
yeah.
It's just amazing, and it's
Yeah.
so interesting how he came back into my life, And like
Yeah.
Vera says, I woke up today a very different person.
Yeah.
I just revived myself. It's like he refreshed my memory all again that God has a purpose for everybody on this earth. And that is
Mm.
what he also says in this book about God having a purpose for we came here for a purpose.
Yeah.
He actually
I
Mm.
says
mean
we
that
came
book, this
here.
book, he reminds me also of my own story. My son. I have a son. He came a little early, so like 3 months early. So when I was
Mm.
reading this book again, it reminded me of him, and I was like, God, um, thank you. Because most of the time I have even complained, you know, and I'm like, God, thank you, because what if I had a child like the Nick? How would I cope with this? I mean,
Yes. Yes.
I ask a lot of questions this morning. I'm like,
Yes.
God, what the parents should be very, very strong believers. I mean, they
Yes,
should be so powerful and trusting God with all their heart, to put him in a normal school, to take him as a normal, to handle him. And this is why I wanted to link it with my son when he came early. And then
Mm.
people said, oh, I said the day that he came was his birthday. So there's no addition, there's no subtraction. You think that I should always remove 3 months from his age? I'm not gonna do that, because the day he came was a plan of God, and that
Yes.
day is his birthday. And the moment I started looking at him in that eye, he things changed. He became like that age as well. So again, it's reminding us of the abilities and the powers that we have
yes,
in inside us, and we can change whole lot
Mm.
of things, whole lot of things.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. Yeah,
yes,
that is amazing. I can also quote from his book. He talks about something about negativity. Allow me to go there quick, and I look for it. Yes. Okay, let me read just one of the things he wrote. The key is to refuse to be overwhelmed or swept away by the negative emotions or the feelings of depression.
yes, yes, yes,
Yeah, he
mm,
has he has so amazing the way he writes, the way he expresses himself is
Hmm.
really, really amazing. I also go
Hmm.
back to the parents. I feel the same way, Vera, you feel. The parents
Hmm.
must have been really strong, 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 strong people. They
Yeah.
said, no, we are not going to take this. This child is not normal. He's normal. He's not abnormal. What you see is not what we see in our child. And
Yeah.
they transferred their belief to the child. The
Hmm.
child, right, had gotten on the dark point, but because I think the parents had installed something in the child, yeah,
Yes.
that grew, that seed grew. I really
Yes.
like that. And it says, when you detect negative thoughts running through your mind, you can choose to hit
yes,
the off switch, acknowledge them, understand their source, but stay focused on the solution instead of the problem.
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah. So
mhm,
it is. He understood his problem. Yeah.
Mm.
He understood. He acknowledged it, and then he understood the source, but he stayed focused instead of the problem. And I think that is making him win. And that
yeah,
is how we should act also. Yeah. We
yes,
should
Yeah.
understand the source, acknowledge the source, acknowledge it, and then stay focused instead of looking at our problems. Because today we are like the situation we are in right now,
mm,
the crisis. Yeah. If you're a believer, if you are, there's some people who it has really not affected. Yeah.
Yes, that's
Yes.
true.
For example, I'll give my own example. I was pregnant in the whole period. At some point, I thought, oh, what is going to happen when I go to the hospital?
Yes.
But the moment I said, okay, at the beginning there was a lot of messages, there were a lot of everything going on. I just shut off everything until I went to until I went to the hospital. And I lived it, and it got finished. There are people who it is really not affected. If you look at the problem, it will really affect you. And I
Yes.
think this is what Nick is telling us. He's saying there is hope. If you don't look at what is on you, you just look at what is ahead. And that
Actually,
is
yes. Actually,
yeah.
really, he talks very much about our emotions, and actually says how the emotions, the thoughts. It talks very much about we should be very careful about our thoughts,
Yes.
because our thoughts can send actually an emotion and an action, and it goes like a domino. So we must be very careful. Actually, going on talking from a personal point of view, I stay alone here, and my children are all in
Yes,
Africa, except one son, but he's grown up
yes,
in Hamburg. And all my other children and grandchildren are in Kenya. And like now, I don't know when I'll ever see them again because of travel and all that. And
yes, yes,
but like you say, it has it. I must say that no, really believing in God, knowing that there's something higher, and even from everything, from every perspective, when I look at it, even about COVID-19 and all that, I always ask God, what is God trying to tell us? Because even there is something about us that
Indeed, he's an
about nature that we must not be careful, because a lot of nature, we God God has given us everything, and there is hope in everything. And even
yes.
in this COVID-19, in it, if somebody looks at it not negatively, there
Yes.
mm,
is a way you can come out stronger. You can
mm,
come
Yes.
out with more trust. It has given people time to go back into their inner selves and
Yes.
have that communication, quiet time with God alone. If you can choose not to be all the time in noise. And
yes,
really, and this is the time when actually I have been molded better, because I get to choose exactly who to communicate with. I get to choose who to talk to. Get to choose who to meet even online.
yes,
And it's really molding me back, and really making and I know there's God. I know there's something out there. And I was reading this book, even to okay, we'll come back there. I know that there is a plan out there, a better opportunity. That's the way I want to say it.
mm,
Yes,
A
mm,
better opportunity. There's something that I also got in this book, and I wanted to share before because the time goes so quick. If we are not careful, some
yeah,
inspiring things we may miss to share with the listeners. At least we have some few that are online, so they can get some few stuff. He says to live without limits. He gave some 8 points or 9 points that I tried to gather out on
yes,
how to live without limits, no? So, and
wow,
this with limitation in general, to live without limits, the first thing you need is a powerful sense of purpose. The second thing we need is hope so strong that it cannot be diminished. And then the third one that we need is faith in God and the infinite possibilities. The
wow,
fourth things we need is to love and self acceptance. The
wow,
fifth is attitude without altitude.
mm,
And the sixth point is a courageous spirit.
wow,
The seventh thing we need is the willingness to change.
yes,
mm,
The eighth thing we need is a trusting heart.
wow,
The ninth thing we need is hunger for opportunities. And
yes,
number is the ability to assess risk and to laugh at life.
That is
So,
amazing.
these are the 10 steps to live a ridiculously happy life by Nick
Wow.
Vujicic.
Thank you for the summary. Dear listeners, we are looking at the book from Limits Without Life Without Limits from Nivach. I hope I've
He,
pronounced it very
he will
well.
surely come to correct us one day.
Yes, ma'am.
Nick Voyage or the Voyiniak or the Voyicic,
Yes,
whatever. He will come to correct us one day.
yeah. So we are always here on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. at 6 a.m. trying to analyze the different books. We love reading. We call in different people. So if you want to come and listen, if you want to be part of us to discuss what we have read, you are always welcome. So I'll go into another question that also I would like to ask you, my panelists, if I would call you like that, if you allow me to call you like that. So how did the book make you feel? Let's go a bit personal, just in small words.
Okay, I can go in with that one. What the book made me feel is questioning myself.
Hmm.
I've been very honest with myself, questioning myself. Am I grateful for where I am and for all the journey I've been to until where I am right now? How grateful I am.
Hmm.
And I started, and because it's a very short book, so after I finished it, I said I must say 10 things I'm grateful for. And I really, and it made me go back also very, not this particular time, it made me
Hmm.
go back through the whole journey, and I saw some places where God removed me from very drastic things. And it was so astonishing that at some places where you just felt completely hopeless, and I never imagined I would be where I am right now. And that's what that book did to me. That book made me, confirmed to me that in life, every single life has a purpose on this earth, and that every single life is worthy, and every single life has value, and that we should value every single life, despite
Hmm.
whatever color, despite the physical or anything. We must value any single life on this earth, because that life is here for a purpose, and we are
Hmm.
all one, and that we
Yeah.
should be always grateful. So that's
Hmm.
the deepest message that it gave me, and which I want to stay with throughout my
Hmm.
life from now on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that is amazing. Yeah, we are all also talking about God. And he says in his book, if I may quote again, a moment, please. He says, I see the word of God as a sword to fight negative thoughts.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that is amazing. And that if we are Christians, dear followers, it is the word of God is a sword to fight negative thoughts. On another part, anything you have, anything you believe in, and it can fight negative thoughts, I think you're already on the right path. On the
Yes.
right path. So again, he says, the Bible, the sword is the Bible. You also hold up the shield of faith to defend yourself. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
You hold the he says you hold the shield of faith to defend yourself. Again, we go back to what Vera has said, that you've talked about the faith, believing in something. One of the points was
Yes.
about faith. Could you read that
Yes.
point again?
He said
It,
faith in God and the infinite possibilities.
yes, yeah. And here it is saying the shield of faith is to defend yourself.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that is
Mhm.
really amazing. So, and Vera, how did the book make you feel in
Oh my,
short?
And my God, I don't know. There's so many lessons I got from this book that I really wonder why I have not read this book before. And and well, I think all things work together for good. The first
Mm,
thing that I know is that he says, when you give up on your dreams, you put God in a box. Which
mm.
box? And so it kept me question, which of the boxes have I put God into? Now,
Wow.
so he says,
Yes.
take a so I was thinking to myself, you have to take a minute to think about our own limitations. We have placed so much limitations in our lives, and just imagine that he had also accepted those limitations. We will not be blessed now reading his book and analyzing his book and reviewing his book, right? And most of us, we have arms, we have hands, we have legs, and all that. Yet we have put limitations in us, self limitations, limitations that come from whatever cultures that we come from, or whatever things we have put in us that have limited us. And he
Mm,
goes further to say, whether you are aware of it or not, we view life, we view the world through our own unique perspectives or attitudes based on our beliefs of what is good or bad, wrong or right, fair or unfair. So your decision and actions are based on those attitudes. So if you want to change something or do something, then you do it looking towards that direction. So you have the power, and we have the power to adjust our
yes.
attitude and change our life. But what marks me most is the fact that he makes us to understand that there are only two types of risk in this life: the danger of trying and the danger of not trying.
Yes.
So
Mm,
that is to say, there is always a risk, no
mm,
matter how you may try to avoid
mm,
it
mm.
or protect yourself. So, two kinds of danger: the danger, the risk, or the danger of not trying, or the danger of trying. So, you're going to choose yourself because God has given us the power of choice. So, we're going to choose one of these two. So, no other ways to run about. Either you
Mm.
try or you choose not to try. And both
Yes,
of
ma'am.
them got
Mm.
risk. This is
Yeah,
so eye opening, you know. This is so
yeah,
eye opening.
yeah. That is amazing. You talked about the box, putting God in the box, and then I connect this with. He says he was in the dark moments.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, he was in the dark moments, and I quote from his book again. He says, "If you feel overcome by dark moods, you don't have to handle with yourself.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
That is
Yes.
the point. Don't
Yes.
handle it
Mm,
yourself. Those
mm,
who love you won't feel burdened.
yes.
They want
Mm,
to help you. If you
Mm,
feel you can't confide in them, reach out to professional counselors at school,
yes.
mm,
at work, in your
Mm,
community. You are
mm,
not alone. I was
yeah.
not alone. I see that now.
Mm,
yes.
yeah.
It is amazing.
Mm,
If you know that you have a problem, you can talk to someone. You can go to someone to speak about it. If you don't have friends, go to the counselors. Today, society has told us that, oh, if you are to go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist, you're already on the road, in the dead road. But no,
mm.
yeah,
That's
you
not
need
true, because
help.
that's why they are there. They are
Yes,
there for this. I
exactly.
mean,
Yeah.
it's the same like you go to the doctor. Why do you
Mm,
go to the doctor? You go to
mm,
the doctor because you have headache. So if you have a something disturbing your mind, then go to the psychologist as well, or you go to the healer, who is maybe
mm,
the spiritual, the source of our lives. I think that most people, most religious people tend to ignore the rules of the different specialists, you know.
mm.
So going to a psychologist don't make you less of a Christian or less
Yes.
of a true child of God. We are children of God. And so even if you can go to a doctor, then
Mm,
why not go to a counselor?
mm. Exactly.
If you can go to a teacher, why not go to a psychologist? I mean,
Yeah.
that's why they are there. They have learned and studied the brain. So they will
For
help you
sure.
at times reconnect back and tell you why you are melancholic, why you are extrovert too much, introvert too much, depressive, and all that, So I think
Mm,
that the notion of thinking that when your mind has a problem, you are already outcast is a terrible one. And we have to be
yes,
very careful with such limitations.
yes, and that is what he's talking about. So for me, the book made me feel that there is hope in everything. Whatever
Yes.
situation it is, you should look out for the hope and be patient. So that
Yes.
takes me to the next question. Where, when and where was the turning point of the story arc?
For me, the target point was when he said that we must welcome challenges as character building experiences.
Yes.
He
Mm,
actually put it exactly like that. And he said, we do not have to limit ourselves because God might be having a different path. So when things do not work the way you have really been dreaming, there
mm,
could be what you are not seeing and might not understand, because it kept on coming back to this point that there is a purpose.
mm,
There is a purpose, because he says that hope is a catalyst, that it moves obstacles. It
mm,
creates a momentum and it creates opportunity. So that when you
mm,
keep on hoping that something moves, that hope moves towards removing obstacles, and that is
Mm-hmm.
the
mm,
hope in God, because it removes the obstacles and it creates a momentum. You keep on hoping, and that's the more you keep. And he was giving examples with his own limbs. When they could not move, they became, when he got some other limbs and they were not working, so he stayed with his natural ones. And slowly by slowly, I have actually seen him, and he swims, and he's a very good swimmer. He's a good surfer. He was talking even
mm,
about the surfing, and he's he's an incredible person, just amazingly incredible, you know. And
mm,
so he says, whenever you that hope gives you action, and that action makes you act, and that action moves, and then you create some things, and you continue to move in the world. That you must not give. The power is in perseverance. Yes.
yeah.
So
Wow,
he said so many
amazing.
points, yeah. And oh yes, and most of all, he says that the one which really, that today's handicap might be tomorrow's advantage.
Wow.
Mm,
Today's handicap might be tomorrow's advantage.
Mm.
That is all
amazing.
the hope, and the
Yeah.
and the and the theme that God, remember that God is there. He's not leaving you alone. So that hope, we must never give up hope.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, mm,
Trust.
mm. Yeah. And imagine now you've talked about swimming. I thought you have to have your legs and your arms to support yourself
Yes.
in water. So now I'm imagining how
Yeah.
it does he do how does he do that? It's
Amazing.
amazing. Yeah?
Yeah. Yes.
Amazing. Yeah, because
And deep
in
sea.
water you have to have your hands and your legs, your hands to do the water like this, or to
Yeah.
do like this, and the legs to keep the support.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Hope, hope, hope. So
Yeah.
Miss Vera, so
This man is just for me a blessing in every circumstances. And I think that he has transformed his situation into a blessing, and that's my take home message. That's my what I'm learning. But some few things again, I noticed some 5 points he made. He said making a positive change has 5 necessary stages. So if you want to make some positive changes in our lives, in your life, they got 5
You've
necessary
gone
stages.
off.
The first
We
one
can't
is
see you.
you can see me?
I can see you.
Can you see me?
Yeah,
Yes, Miss
not
Charity.
yet. Yeah, now I
Okay.
Okay.
can see only Millie. I can't see you.
I'm seeing you, so just go on. It's
I
okay.
can't
But
see
you're
you,
here,
Vera.
but you can hear me.
Or is it mine?
I think it's yours. Can you hear me?
Miss Charity, can you hear Vera?
I think it's her phone. She's her connection has a challenge. The
Okay.
5 things he said, making a positive change has
Mm,
5 necessary steps.
yes.
And um I want to read those 5 steps. The
Yes, ma'am.
first one, it says recognizing the need to change. So
Wow.
if you recognize, first of all, you have to recognize the need
Mm,
to
to
change.
change.
Then the second
Amazing.
one will be
Mm,
envisioning something new. So you have to start
wow.
looking something new. And then
Mm,
the third stage will be to letting go the old.
wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah.
And then the fourth one is getting settled. And then the
Wow.
fifth one is keep growing, you know. So I
Settle.
think
Mm-hmm.
these are five really the different stages of life if we
Mm,
really want to make changes, you know.
yeah.
And I also like the idea that we should listen more. And God gave us just one mouth, but He gave
Yes.
you 2 ears. So you better just listen. You better start learning how to listen more. Listen
Yes, ma'am.
twice as much as you speak.
Yeah.
And this got me too. And the practice of an abundance mentality
Yeah.
rather than a scarcity mentality.
Yes.
Yeah. That means
Yes.
we have to say we have a lot. You don't have to show your scarcity. Is that what he's trying to say?
He's trying to say when you believe in an abundance, you believe that there is enough of God's blessings, there is enough of God's happiness, there's enough money for all of us, there's enough love for all of us, there's enough joy out there for everyone. So we should always
Wow.
have this abundance mentality, abundant mindset that there is enough for all of us.
Wow. Wow.
This guy
And
is amazing anyway.
practice abundance instead of scarcity.
And you
Exactly.
know,
Instead of scarcity.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Millie, they coming back to the point where we were talking about this
Yes,
feeling
ma'am.
of
Mm.
and going back into the and what Rita was talking about, that it must somebody must see a doctor and go to the right professions for the right to handle the right
Yes, ma'am.
whatever is the feeling or the illness or whatever one is feeling. He's talking about the feelings of despair and the sense
Wow.
that life is always going to be difficult. He actually said at one particular time he had for some period that kind of feeling. And I know there are a lot of people out there who are listening to us, or they might know somebody who is there who is listening to us.
Mm.
Please take care of your emotions. If you are starting to have those feelings of despair, that life is against you, and that there's something, and those dark moods, he actually calls them dark moods, that
Mm.
it is very important to tell somebody. Because for
Mm.
him, actually, he did tell his brother, and his
Mm.
brother told his father, and sort of it brought back, because those and dark moods mean actually suicidal, and we know that there are many cases of suicide right now happening. So I would just like to plead with everybody, just pray, and but most important, talk to somebody.
Talk
Talk
to
to somebody.
somebody.
Don't think you can
Yes.
solve it on your own. You can't.
Mm.
These are things you can't really solve on your own. You have to
Yes.
talk to somebody, and that person will have an idea where to take you next.
Mm. Mm.
Yes.
Yeah. So, viewers, as you're listening, we are talking about the book Limits with a Life Without Limits. And we are here with Miss Vera, Miss Charity today morning, and Amelie. We are based from different parts of Germany, right?
Yeah.
And we are having our coffee. Mine is almost finished.
Yes.
I don't know which kinds of coffee you had. I have a nice coffee. Yeah, that wakes me up every morning. I love
Yeah.
the coffees. So we are here every mornings on Wednesday to read, to just review the books we have read. So if we read 4 books in a month, then we shall have read how many books? 48 books.
Yeah.
Amazing. When I thought about that number, I
Yeah.
said, wow, I will have read 48 books in a year. Yeah. And then I went back to technology. I imagined, where will I keep, where would I have kept the 48 books in my, yeah, I love doing hard book, but because of the technology or what is it
Yes,
called? The the transportation of books that it is
yes,
you have it immediately. I
yes.
have now resorted to
Kindle.
online book, as in electronic books, and you have it immediately. But I still want my book, my hard book, my hard book. So next time, yes, yes. Next
There is a
time,
difference now. It feels
Yeah.
different somehow having
yes,
this hard book now in your
yes,
hand, and it feels really different. I've tried because of you, Millie. So I had to go to these ebooks and all that, but it doesn't feel the same. I mean, personally, it really
yes,
doesn't feel the same. So I'm like, no, no, no. I gotta get back my books. Get the book, sit there, and I read the book and not the ebook. So but are different experiences. I'm making new experiences, and that's why the book club is good because
yes,
we're exchanging now the different experiences we are making. But to be honest, and I feel like I like to see the fact that I've read 48 books, and I see the 48 books on my shelf on my library.
yes,
And now we are commenting on it. Now, okay, we have an advantage that we are really talking about it, so we are
yeah.
really getting into details.
Mm,
So generations to come can go back again and check the book club, how it has evolved. And this also we can have it in our different areas. So when COVID-19 is over, we can continue these book clubs in our different areas. And imagine how much knowledge and in-depth you would have had to
mm,
inspire a young person, because it's
Yes.
yes,
about the young people. At the end of the day, we want to transfer knowledge into the young people, help the
mm,
young people find their identity. Because about the book of Life Without Limits, it also goes back to finding your life identity, your
Mm.
purpose, life purpose, and the plan of God for us. And
mm.
so I think that the books are good to have. Like, I'm seeing Charity got not a number of the books behind
Yes, ma'am.
I've got
I
so many.
love
They go
that.
from this world to the end of the world.
So you
Don't
can
tell me
really use your space there very well to encourage young people, to
Yes.
learn to read again. Because I think the advantage of reading is that you renew your mind, you remain young in your brain. And with this electronics, we must recognize the challenges behind electronics. It affects the eyes, makes
Yes.
you still, so your brain also just get to crash, go down. But with the reading, you get activating new synapses, no? So
yes,
which makes
yes.
it also interesting. And then you stay young forever. Who cares?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. So next time, what we are going to do is we are going to announce the books earlier on, so that we can order for the books and have time to have our hard book. And if
Yeah,
you
for the
decide, yes, for those of
yeah.
us who want to go back to the hard book,
Exactly.
yes,
So we don't
yes,
want to put anyone in pressure. Let them choose whatever books. But for me,
yes,
I think I'll always have to order my hard copy.
Yes.
yes, ma'am, yes,
But I
ma'am.
can also encourage those the young people also. They are another generation also.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
These books, what I want to encourage is that somebody might think it's expensive, but actually, like the book was less than €2.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
on Amazon. On
Yeah.
Kindle. I bought it on Kindle. It was 190 something.
Yeah.
yes, ma'am. Yeah. Mhm.
And that's usually like what somebody goes to, less than a cup of coffee.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, less than a cup of coffee, and and it's amazing. Oh yes, because you remember how he says, "If my suffering is a burden, reach out to ease that of someone else, and that will bring hope to them and express joy."
Wow. Mm,
Yes, I was
mm.
just yes, so that this also in this book clubs are good because you also get, like, now we get to talk. I've now met Millie. Nice to meet you. Congratulations,
Yes,
baby child. Yes,
yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank
yes,
you.
and we are sharing something which
Yes,
is so nice. It will make the day a beautiful day,
Yes. Hmm.
full of
Yeah.
hope.
So
Yes.
we see, good morning, Mr. Elvis. He asked us good morning. He told us good morning long time ago. So
Yes.
and then that takes us to the almost to the end of the session. But I thank you for coming. And as we are continuing, dear viewers, we are going to always announce the books that we are going to be having, and we are going to just come and enjoy our coffee and be inspired, be told, be everything in the book. And if you have the young children around you, encourage them. You are in the bathroom, you are preparing to go to school, to go to work, just tune us on and be there, and you listen to what we are saying. Comment, just say hi, and we shall listen to you. We shall come back to you. So again, this takes me to our second last question, and I'm asking you, my panelist. I don't know. I have that word panelist. I'll check for another word, Miss Vera. So,
I
what?
think we are co-readers because we are just reading and chatting and
Yeah.
inspiring one another.
Yeah.
But
That is a
anyhow
great
you
thing.
want to.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for the correction. So, the senses makes us strong memories. Yeah. So, which senses did the story most trigger? Eat, touch, smell, see, or hear? So, which sense did the book touch you most?
Uh,
I think
um,
personally I go with the hearing, and I could say I could feel him. The feeling,
Yes.
even without his arms, I could still feel the pain he was going through. So that touching, so I could feel through that aspect of the touching, and even I could hear him scream for help as a young person. I could just hear that. So I think the senses of the feeling, the touching, maybe because I just was imagining in my mind how is he touching, and how is he touching his family. He has 4 kids now and a beautiful wife. How is he going about with that? Maybe that came in my mind the whole time. But also the sense of hearing and listening. He just makes me understand that there is a need to listen, to pay more attention,
Mm,
especially as parents. We If we're not careful, we destroy our children unconsciously to us because we do not pay attention. We talk more than we should talk. We scream more than we should talk.
oh,
We
talk
should.
about that.
So
Yeah.
we do things that we have to really be careful, because it goes a long way to affect our young people, our children, even unconscious to us, and especially, I'm just using this platform as African mothers and African parents. Some of us are really, really used to screaming that we forget that the children they are born here really grow up differently. Let's go back to our teenage age. In where I come from, originally from Cameroon, when your father or your mother said something, you just accepted it,
yes.
not because it was by all means good, because the culture, the system, the place where you grew up was imposing that, right? Now we are here in another system whereby the child has been taught how to express himself, and you, the mother at home now, with your own style of upbringing, you want to suppress and destroy. So I think that we should really, the sense of hearing, like he said somewhere, he said God gave us just one mouth, but he gave us 2 ears. So you should
Mm,
listen twice as much as you speak. Now let
yeah.
us really get to listen twice as much as we speak. And then
Mm,
another thing also is, still on that sense, or the different senses. I don't know where to place this, but I kept seeing, I still think it's still the touch or the feelings of these limitations. And he said something like, I think it's sight. There are no limits other than those we impose upon ourselves.
mm,
Yes.
mm,
No
Yes.
limits
mm,
other than those
Mm.
you have imposed on yourself. I don't know what is wrong with my camera, but it's
yeah.
like my camera is off. There are no
Yeah.
limits rather than those you have imposed yourself. So those are the
Yes.
things I learned.
Wow, that is amazing. That is really amazing. So, I also, Sister Vera talked about, or Miss Vera talked about shouting, screaming at the children.
Yeah,
I'll tell you a small story as she comes back.
yeah.
Screaming, we always screamed at our daughter.
Mm,
Me, because she's active, hyperactive, so we screamed,
yeah.
and my husband screamed, and I would scream. And guess what? She screamed to us back. She's just 1.5 years. When you talk to her, telling
Yeah.
her something, she will scream back. I was shocked. I could
Yeah.
not believe that a child of maybe 1 year and 3 months can shout back. She cannot yet talk. And then it brought me back to myself, and I said, oh, there's something happening here.
Yeah.
The way
She's
what I'm
giving you
what
back what you're giving her.
Yeah, it's true.
exactly,
Mm,
exactly, Miss Vera.
Mm,
So this
mm,
brought me back to the point, said, wow, we should watch out the way, and the children here, they
mm,
are told, they have their confidence already. They will answer you anyhow. But I was really surprised, for you just imagine a child who has not yet started talking.
mhm,
He
yeah.
can already defend herself, and
mhm.
she shouts so hard. I
Yeah.
was shocked. I said, this cannot be true.
Yeah.
For
Wow.
sure.
That
So,
that's what you fed her with, and that's no
exactly.
wonder.
Yes,
Somewhere the Bible also says, if we go back to the Nick and refer to him,
yes,
I like how his mother would encourage him, his
exactly.
mother would empower him and say,
Yes,
"You are special, you're wonderful,
Yes.
you're not, you're just a special child." And he is
yes,
going to say, "But I don't want to be special. I just want my hands and I want my legs back."
Yes.
No,
Yes.
so you
yes,
get back what you put in a child.
Mm,
So if
yeah,
you're
that is
used
the
to
metaphor.
screaming, yeah,
Mm,
the child will be screaming back at you, and you'll be wondering, how
yes,
come? That's
yes,
what you fed him, and so he
yes.
gave back to you.
Yes, and then I
so,
had to check myself out, and then I started. When she would scream out, say, "No, you don't! I didn't shout at you." Yeah, you learn, and as an
mm,
African parent, you
mm,
you imagine trying to talk
mm.
to your child in a calm way. I see like that is a no go, but we have to learn too.
No,
So
I
just
think
be
here
encouraged.
in
Yes.
I think
Mm.
all we are talking like what Nick says. Action creates reaction. So
Yeah, you're right.
yeah, so like Vida says, I think we have to listen more because
Mm,
when you listen, you also listen at yourself. If you learn to
mm.
listen, you'll actually learn to listen how many times you scream.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
you start listening actually, and you ask yourself, actually, why am I screaming? Like these days,
Mm,
I'm very conscious when I scream or I start shouting until to the point that I think I've stopped shouting.
mm,
And I've stopped screaming. I've stopped talking loudly when I'm angry because
mm.
Mhm,
I realized that because he says action brings reaction, but
Yes.
also he says that they refuse to quit. So
mhm,
I'm just listening. I was listening as he was talking. I was feeling him, like you're saying. I was feeling him with all my senses because I just felt that I should learn to just appreciate more, just appreciate, just
mhm.
be grateful,
Yes.
just not quit. If he did quit,
Yes,
and
And
he
he's not
almost
yes.
still
quit.
quitting. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I like his truthfulness because he says he had, and he says he still has, as he was writing that book, he still says he still has bad moods at times, but they're not so drastic. From the time he knew that there are people who love him, that he's
Mm.
here for
Yes,
a purpose. Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Mm.
he's here for a purpose. Yeah.
Yes. Amazing, amazing. Yes, and me myself, what I took from how the senses I took, he touched my soul. The words he speaks, the way he speaks of the things, what happened to him, that really touched my soul. And I had the great message of hope, hope, hope. And that still rings in my head, hope, 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 the
Mm.
message. So that takes me to the last question. So explain the book in 5 words. Miss Charity, how would you explain the book
Okay.
in 5 words?
In 5 words, I would say it's an inspiring book.
Yes.
It's a very encouraging book.
Mm.
It is a very reflective book.
Mm.
It's a very, a book full of gratitude,
Yes. Yes. Mm.
and also it's a very action solution oriented book.
Yes, ma'am. Mm.
Yes,
Mm.
yeah,
Wow. Yes, for me, the book is for me, in 5 words, there is hope. That is
yes,
the message. Hope is all I needed. That is the
mm,
statement I wrote down. Yeah, hope is all I needed because I hear one message, which is hope, and I hear different messages also that we had to recognize the need to change, envision something new, letting the old get it settled, keep growing. Yeah, so you
yes,
practice abundance instead of scarcity. Again, actions brings reactions. We
yes,
should listen more. To Miss Vera, I hope you
Yes.
are listening to
I'm
us.
listening. I'm here
I
too, and I
know.
wanted to share just a
Yes,
few things again because
yes,
I know we have some few people listening to us. I even
yes,
wrote
ma'am.
that already somewhere. He said, I
Mm,
don't know if I should put them in 5 words. I don't know if they're 5 words or 5 sentences, but
no
let me just say
problem.
what I feel. He said,
Mm,
instead of dwelling on your imperfections, your failings, or your mistakes, focus on your blessings and the contribution you can make in nurturing a soul. And then he
wow.
goes somewhere and says, we are all perfectly imperfect human beings.
yes,
Some of us may be more than others, but we all have our flaws and our shortcomings. And lastly, what I take out of the book is a soul searching of my identity, my purpose, and the
yes,
plan of God. And I
yes,
think that this is what made the difference in his life. The fact that he finally discovered his identity, his
mm,
Mm,
purpose, his life
yes,
purpose, and he accepted the plan of God for his
mm,
life. So this is
yes,
just
yes.
to encourage us to go back searching our identity, and
mm,
especially
Mm,
us as Black people in the diaspora living in a wide community. At times we are being marginalized for one reason or the other. That we should go back to understand our real identity, then
yes,
mm,
discover the purpose for which we are born, we are
mm,
created. Why are you here?
mm,
Then live in that purpose. And when we are living in that purpose, we will understand many good things. So at the end, he says, you will find contentment when your talent and passion are completely engaged in full force.
yes,
wow. Yes, amazing. Mm,
yes.
Mhm.
mm, mm. Well, this is a great statement. You will find, can you repeat it, please?
You will find contentment when
Mm,
your talent and passion are completely engaged in full force. Now, he's saying this because he says some people think that when I have X and Y and Z, I would
yes,
be
ma'am.
happy. So, the happy syndrome, he says, a delusion. So, when you look for happiness in objects, they are
Yes,
never enough. So, look
yes,
around you, look within you, and then you
yes,
find to continue life. Oh
yes.
my goodness, 1 hour is coming to an end. So
Yes, it has
Yes,
come to an end.
yes,
I really thank you for attending, my co-readers. I really love the session, and I hope to have you back, Miss Charity,
I
again.
hope to do that for you
I
as well.
enjoyed the words of wisdom. I picked up so much, and I know the viewers picked up so much. As always, Miss Vera, I enjoyed the time. I hope you are listening, Miss Vera. So we enjoyed the time, and let's meet again at 6 next Wednesday. I'm talking about 6 p.m. You don't mind that. So Let's meet again next weekend. I love you all. I love you, dear viewers. Let us, if you have any question where to get the book, which book we are reading next, we are going to be communicating that, and we shall have a great time as we share all the books we have read together, as we enjoy the moments. That is the most interesting part. We're enjoying the different moments that we are getting from these books and reading. Remember, me reading the book is a way of encouraging me. It encourages me during this day-to-day life action. We're full of action land. So when you have someone who is talking at your background, you're always encouraged to keep moving. You don't see what is happening to you. So Miss Vera is off, but then she's coming back. And Miss Charity, I'll give you you say the last word as we close in 1 minute, and then Miss Vera, and then we wind
Yes.
up.
I'll just tell everybody who is listening, thank you very much for being here, and I wish you a
Mm,
very wonderful day, and don't lose hope. And in case you have any issue, please talk to somebody, see somebody, discuss with somebody. You're not
mm,
alone. You have a purpose on this earth.
mm.
Wonderful day.
Bye bye. So Miss
So we're
Vera,
closing. Yes, we're just closing. I'm wishing all the listeners and a very beautiful day. And I give them this word as a take home and to us. So those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. So that's our hope message. And I pray that we meet again next week, same time. It has
yes,
always been
ma'am.
a very nice moment, and I think that
Mm,
learning is a midweek motivation, sugar, water, tea, so that we can continue the week in a very beautiful way. God bless you all, and hope to
yeah,
see you next week. Thank you, Ma'am Charity. Thank
Thank
you, Minnie, and
yes,
we
ma'am.
thank all our viewers.
you.
Goodbye. Have a nice
Goodbye.
day. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.